My name is Kelton Mason. I work for Lindner Feed and Milling out of Comfort, Texas. I actually live in Montgomery, Texas, where me and my wife own Mason Livestock. We run 65 show pig sows, as well as she works for Lindner as well. Starting with the baby pig program, and just to kind of tell you what we do at Mason Livestock. We obviously wean the pigs there around 3 weeks of age, and we may creep the pigs in the crate for 2 or 3 days prior to weaning, or we may not. But when we do creep the pigs, we use the 600 product. That's what we prefer to wean onto, the 600 Neo Starter product. Does a great job in terms of transitioning from the mother to feed. Fast reception on the feed. The consumption is very, very good. We don't see nearly the crash that we used to see on other pre-starters and starter products whenever we moved them off of the sow into the nursery. We'll feed that for a week to 10 days. Most of the hogs will take, if it, say average litter size of 8 to 10, it'll take a bag to bag and a half over that week period. So around a week or so, a week to 10 days, we'll transition them to the 606 product. A very good product that if you read the literature, actually says it's a blend of 600 and 612, which is another starter product that we had used prior. But 606 does a very good job. Easy transition from 600. There's really no need to mix the two for 2 or 3 days. They actually just go straight on to 606 very well. And so now they're about a month old whenever we've moved them to 606. We tend to sell pigs around 6 weeks old is whenever we can start selling them. And as a breeder, and this will relate to most people, obviously feed cost is continually increased and is probably the biggest toll that we have in terms of expense to the breeder. And what we can see is we can get those pigs sold early, and yet still they're on a good path to be successful for those end users or the feeders there as well. So we feed 606 until they're 8 or 9 weeks old. If we still have the pigs then, we move them to 612 or 611. That's basically our program. Very easy and simple. Again, 600 at first. Feed that for a week to 10 days, move to 606. We can start selling pigs 6 to 8 weeks old. They're usually at their prime at 8 weeks old and ready to go to the feeders. As far as the receiving the pigs and the feeder aspect, we have been very fortunate. Probably one of the things that I like about my job, and I have a true passion for, is helping the feeders once they receive the pigs. Obviously, as a breeder, we want those pigs to be successful, and we all know how important it is to have a good start from a baby pig standpoint, and we love the 600 and then the 606, and then transitioning into the feeder stage when those kids are going to receive the pigs. We actually send them home with a bag of either 611 or 612, basically the same ration. 612 is medicated with CTC and Denagard, where 611 is only medicated with CTC. Most feeders for the exhibitors, most dealers are going to be carrying the 611 product. That's a fine feed for them to be received on, and an easy transition from the breeder. So we tell those feeders to take those pigs home, run about a half a bag of 611 or 612 through those pigs to transition them and get them acclimated to their new environment, their new location. We then tell them to use the next half of that bag, so that's going to take you 10 days to 2 weeks, and mix it with 632. 632 is our preferred 20% product that does a tremendous job of getting those pigs started on the right path, enough muscle development, enough growth, health is really good. We transition them to 632, and then we start working with 632 and 685. Those are the two growing products that we use the majority of. We tell those feeders to basically use 632 and 685 throughout the entire feeding period. What I like about mixing those two is obviously 685 is a 16% protein product, fairly high in fat. It's got a good lysine level as well that allows them to be started on a lower protein product a little bit quicker without depleting the amino acid supply or having the amino acid level where it's suitable for those younger pigs, where most lower protein products don't have a lysine level that's suitable for those younger pigs. So anyhow, we can start them as early as 75, 80 pounds in 685 if we need to tone them down from a muscle standpoint just a bit. But we use 632 and 685. I like to blend the two just 50-50. right at first, and so we're basically making our own 18% product. As that pig develops, I tell those feeders if they're getting a little heavier muscled and we want to soften them up just a bit, maybe increase the ratio of 2 parts of 685 versus 1 part of 632. If the opposite is occurring and we need those pigs to be more expressive, we need them to continue to develop more muscle, we might go 2 parts 632, 1 part 685, and basically play with the ratio throughout the feeding period. And that way we're able to manipulate protein levels and utilize those feeds without ever having to transition to any feed products. So it's really easy on the pig. We've come up with a product number 672 or 673, depending on what part of the country that you're in, and whether you want it in a pellet or a meal form. That's an actual true blend of 632 and 685. And so those are the 3 products that we really tell people to use: 632 and 685, or the blend, which is 672 or 673, whichever part of the country you're in, when we talk about those numbers. Lastly, we go to the last product that I want to talk about is a very unique product. It's a unique product to Lindner. A unique product in the marketplace is the 611 product. It's commonly known as Scud missiles. A lot of people will just refer it to as Scud missiles, but 611 or 614, if you're in the Midwest, 614 would be the number that we reference it. In Texas, we reference 611. And 611 is a product that I think is misunderstood, but it's a great product to use. You'll see on the tag that it's 23% protein, extremely high fat. It's high in terms of lysine level as well. And people look at the label, and I think it's misconceived and misinterpreted. A lot of people believe that product is going to give you a lot of hard muscle shape, and it does give you massive muscle, and think of it in that way. Think of it as massive muscle and bulk of muscle, not of shape of muscle. Because that is a product that will actually get them wider, it'll get them more powerful, it gives them a more market hog ready look, if you will. But does not give you any hard shape. We actually use that to give them that extra cover right there at the end that gives them that finished look. And so back to the feeding program, using 632 and 685 throughout. About 35 days before the show, I tell most of the feeders to go to 50% of the ration of 611. Let's see how they're going to react to 611 before we add Paline. So we'll be on, let's say, 50-50, 32 and 85. 35 days out, we'll go 50% 611, 25% 685, 25% 632. So we're keeping half the ration the same. We're including the 611 product. We use that for 2 weeks, see how they react. If they get more massive muscle, just like we're talking about, if they're getting fatter, then we like it. We decide then whether we want to go all the way to 611, stay where we're at, back up on 611 or not, and that's whenever we can introduce the Paline as well. Pigs tend to probably respond to the Paline even quicker when you have the 611 product in there, so that's just a note to the feeders to realize with that extra protein, extra lysine level in there, they will get more massive whenever they're on Paline. So that's the program that we follow. Luckily, we've been very successful with that, and the feeders have found that to be a very good program to follow.